everybody, welcome back for another exciting episode of Tuesdays with Grace. And I'm introducing a real little cutie frame here for you. I wanted to show you how to put the automation on the frame and just quickly how quick and easy it is to make it from a free motion to use the automation with your home machine, okay? But it doesn't, let me just stipulate, it doesn't work with, the automation does not work with every machine out there. So check the compatibility chart to see if your machine is compatible. I will be using a Juki 2010 machine just to show you how it works and what it looks like as it's using the automation. So let me jump in. This is the little cutie frame, and notice that it has legs, okay? You don't have to purchase the legs, although it is very nice. To use the automation. You can use it on your table, okay? We have excellent instructions that show you step by step what you need to do. It is not a hard process. There's only a couple things that are a little different from the automation video or Tuesday that I did with Marie. Just a couple of things. So let me jump in and talk to you about that. Okay. First of all, you are going to have a different, just slightly different carriage. So on the bottom of this bottom carriage, so on your frame, on most frames, you'll have a bottom carriage and a top plate. The top plate is where your home machine sits. Now, all of the frames come with a bottom carriage, but they won't all use a top plate. Only if your machine doesn't act like the top plate. So like with the mid to long arm machines, they have wheels on them. They become the top plate. So they're moving front to back, side to side, okay? So anyway, with this top plate, this is where you place your machine. So with this motor, there's a motor plate that comes in everything you need to assemble the automation for any of the frames and the machines. It all comes in a nice box, and it's all marked and ready for you to take it step by step and go through the process of setting it up. It doesn't, after you've done it, you'll just like, oh wow, that was really quick. Then you're ready to quilt. And then what do you do next? Well, I'm going to show you, okay? So pull out everything, make sure all your boxes are there, and then you'll pull out your motor plate. And when you turn your motor plate over, you'll find a little box on it, and you'll just loosen some screws, and then you'll set it down over, and right here, I've got the belts connected, so I just wanted to show you. You'll set it on the bottom plate, and then you'll screw it in place. And then you'll retighten all the screws that you loosened to get the motor plate into place. And then you'll make sure that you're threading your belt. So you'll have two belts with it. You have one for the bottom carriage that is your side-to-side movement, okay? And that's this belt right here, okay? So it's threaded right here along your motor plate. So it's going from side to side. So as your machine's moving, you have that access. Then you have the top plate belt, okay? And each of the belts are connected with what we call belt tensioners. So on this side, you're going to have your belt tensioner knob, and it just allows you to tighten and loosen the belts, okay? So when you're free motion quilting, you're not going to want your belts tight. You want to loosen them, especially this one right here. So you just unscrew this screw first. Don't let your husband tighten it down so hard that you can't loosen it, okay? Just make sure that you just loosen it. So once you pull it back, then that's how you're tightening it. So see, I loosened it. I give it some little slack. I undo the screws. I just undo them, and then I'll give it some more slack. And now it's really kind of smooth this way. Now, for tightening it up, we want it pretty tight. We want it to be in place. So I'm going to pull it with this right here, this knob right here. I'm going to hold this knob into place, and then I'm going to tighten down this other side of the knob to get it nice and tight. And see that slack? There's not a lot of slack in it, okay? So now we're going to do the top plate, and it's the same process, but you have two tensioner knobs. so that you can release it easier. So when you're free motion quilting, you don't want to take it all the way off the plate, but you'll want to take it out on both sides and secure it down so it doesn't get in your way while you're free motion quilting. I'm not going to take it all the way out, but just make sure that you undo both sides while you're free motion quilting. And that's just threaded in this direction down into the motor plate. So if you guys can get a really good look at what it looks like. So once your belts are securely into place, side to side, front to back, and you'll feel the difference. It doesn't move as freely as it once did. You're good to go, okay? Now, underneath here is where you're going to plug it in, but underneath here is the power supply. And in the power supply, there is an electric board that you need to swap out, and you need to set the jumpers. There's little jumpers that you will set the right configuration for your machine. So you'll just look on it and you'll say, oh, okay, I found my Juki 2010. And these are the little jumper setting configurations that I need to use. And you'll just pull up on those jumpers and they'll slide off, and then you'll reconfigure it according to what machine you have. So that's really important for you to change and look at. Otherwise, it's not going to sew properly. And that's called the sewing board, and it's the communication board between your automation and your tablet. So it knows what each other's doing. So if you're just tracing and you're not actually sewing, something's going on. It's either not plugged in all the way, or, that's the communication board. Okay, then you have your long USB board, USB cord, sorry. So one side, I just wanted to pull it out, has this different angle. This is the A to B, and this goes in to the motor plate, and you're just going to, as you put it in, you're going to listen. And when it snaps, then it's in place. Now, don't be like me. Make sure it's in all the way, because there have been several times that I thought it was in all the way, but it really wasn't. And then you have your cable that goes from the port right here. So this is the port that's going to plug into your little sewing board, and it's called the sewing machine cable. All right, so now I'm going to set my sewing machine on my top plate and get it all plugged in and ready to go. There's not a lot to using the smaller machines, so it's kind of fun. So I'm just going to place it right up here. Your sewing machine clamps are really important. They're going to help stabilize your machine so that it's not going to go anywhere on you. When you're sewing, have you noticed that there's a lot of vibration on the machines because the faster you go and the more it bounces? Well, these are going to help stabilize that. All right, so I've plugged that in, and actually I want to undo this one right here because I want to pull it back. And my sewing cable, which plugs into the board right down here on the side, is going to come up, and I'm going to pull it through under here, and I'm going to plug, because it has this right angle cord for the Jukis, I'm just going to plug it in right here. All right, now that that's plugged in, I want to make sure that I'm plugging in my sewing machine cord. Yes, your sewing machine needs to be plugged in. You can't run it without. So make sure that your sewing machine cord is plugged into the back as well. Make sure that's in all the way. All right. And then I think we're good to go. And now you notice that I have my tablet cord, and we have the long cord because it has to reach the motor plate to the tablet. Okay. So we're pretty much set up. It's that easy. It's not complicated at all. And now we can get ready and set up to quilt. So let me just quickly talk to you about how you want to set it up. It's a little bit different on the frame. So I'm going to put my pole back into place. So we're just going to pull it forward and put it back into place. And I'm just going to lock it into place. Now I'm just going to get my quilt and put it on, and we're going to power up, and we're going to quilt a couple of block designs just to show you how quick and easy it is to quilt with blocks. Next week, I am really excited because we're going to go live, and I'm going to show you how to do an edge-to-edge design using the Cutie frame and the automation. How much fun! And really, the automation does all the work for you. You really don't have to do much. You're just there to move the quilt. That's all you have to really do. Well, you have to pick out the design and size it. There's a little bit more to it than that, but really, it's not hard to do it all. So let me just set these right here, and we'll get my quilt on. And I didn't bring a really big quilt to do today. All right, so this little quilt here, just notice I'm not going to use leaders, okay? Now, leaders are optional. If you're not going to use the leaders, then that means that you have to make your backing and your batting wider and longer. And your backing will need to be long enough and wide enough to act as the leader, okay? Because it's going to take place of that, so you need to make sure that it's wider and longer. So, because I'm just using this little piece right here, and I'm not really worried about it. It's kind of a little scrap piece. I'm just going to come down here, and we're going to come to this next section right here. So it's going to kind of act as my leader. But I want to make sure that as I'm placing it on my frame, I'm giving me enough space from the back that I can quilt. So I don't want to pull it all the way back, because then, as I'm quilting in that area, it's going to cause problems. So maybe we'll just do one little pantograph and then a couple little blocks. So that's what I'll do. I'm just kind of guesstimating. I might have to readjust it, but that's okay. You can readjust it as much as you need it to give you the right placement that you need for your machine. Okay, so notice that I got a little extra, and as I'm coming down, so I need to roll this up, but I'm going to pull it forward just to kind of see. So yeah, that's pretty good. So we'll do a little long pantograph, and then I'll show you how to do a little block. And we might have to do half of a block, because when you're quilting, the machine, this space right here in the machine, really determines how big of a block you can quilt, or how big of a design, I should say, you can quilt, because it will only reach so far, or only so far. So you need to make sure that you're designing your design to fit within the parameters of your throat space of your machine. That's really important. I can't stress it enough that you just really need to work. And if you get tired of that, there are always options to upgrade. That's when I say that you'll be ready for a longer arm machine. So I'm just going to pull this out, make sure that everything, I'm not really worried about too many wrinkles and stuff, but I just want to pull it up, and we're going to start rolling it up. And I like to start kind of folding it and then rolling it. So if I fold it up like that, then I can kind of fold it up like this. And just kind of work out my little wrinkles so I'm making it nice and straight. Okay, so now I can hold it right there and get my clamps. You know, and you'll get your own method of doing things, and you'll get pretty quick at it as well. So, you know, you don't have to do it my way. Just figure out what works best for you as you're quilting, and do it your way. All right. And notice how nice that was. It just kept it up off the floor. And now I'm just going to put my little elastic straps into place. And they're elastic, so you can size them larger and smaller. So as this fills up, it'll sit on top. It gets larger, this one will get smaller. It's all how it works. So really, I'm not worried about the handles and how to place them. Okay, so I want to make sure that I'm threading my machine is threaded correctly. And I make sure my feed dog's up. Okay, so you want to make sure your feed dogs are down. when you're quilting. You want to make sure that you have your quilting foot. All right, and another important thing is when you're ready to start quilting, put your presser foot down. If you don't put it down, you get what we call shag carpet underneath, and it's like just like shag carpet, I promise you. So make sure that you're doing that, and we want to make sure that we turn our machine on. Okay, after everything's plugged in, then you can turn your machine on. So it's on. Okay, so I'm just going to come over here to my tablet, okay? And this I can work with. Now, you can sit or stand. This is done in the sitting position. We're just going to do a little pantograph really quick, and then one quick little block, okay? So I just wanted to come over here to my tablet. You've already installed your software. It's not hard to do. There are great instructions for how to do that. You'll get a little code, a little message on your phone. Y'all, it's so quick and easy, not like the old days, okay? We have improved that 100%. Okay, so you just want to see, make sure that you have the little icon, the QCT icon on your tablet, and you get this nice little tablet tray, and then you're going to double tap on it to open. But I have to do one important thing, so we're going and setting it up for this machine, so I'm going to have to change it. And it says, make sure the sewing machine needle is up, okay? And move the carriage to the center of the sewing area. So we want to make sure that we're doing what the screen says. And then we're going to say, okay. That was good. It's moving. It's connected. It's a good sign. Okay, after it's gone through all its little firmware things, it's going to open up. This is the home screen. Now, I am using the Pro version, and I have the gold features as well. If you do not, you'll see the beginnings, and you won't see everything on the screen. You'll see something more like, this is what it looks like with QCT beginnings. It just has select and sew and pantograph. That's all the features that you get. If you have the Pro and none of the gold, this is what it looks like. You have select and sew, which is your block placement. You have pantograph, and then you have pattern CAD, awesome, quilt CAD, and the record. Okay, so you have all these little extra features that are great and wonderful. And then, because I have the gold, you just tap on it, and that's what it looks like. Okay, so you get the different looks, and you get different functions with each version of the automation. So don't worry if you purchase the beginnings. It's a great way and a less expensive way to start quilting using the automation. It helps you become familiar with it. You get to know the screen and the functions, and then I promise you, you'll be ready to upgrade. But you can just purchase the upgraded functions at a good price, and then add those to your software. So you get everything you need in the beginnings package. You're just adding extra functions and features with the upgrades. That's the same way with the gold card. They're great to have, though, by the way. I love each and every one of them. And I tell you, if I didn't like them, I wouldn't be saying it, okay? So I'm just going to come in here right now because I have to make sure that I'm setting up my automation for my machine. So if you notice along the top here, you'll see a little help button, okay? I just want you to tap on help, and it's going to open up. You'll see all these great help files and tools for you to learn the automation. Really important for you to go through them and understand how the functions work for the automations and how you can design your quilt and what each of them are for. So make sure that you open these up and read them and follow along. Now I want us to come over to the settings button right here. It's the second one down, and I want us to open it up. Now, I was using my tablet on a rolling frame. So if you have two frames, you have a hoop frame and a rolling frame, you're going to have to do this unless you get two tablets, one specifically for the rolling frame and one specifically for the hoop frame. But because I go back and forth, I just have to swap and change, okay? So I want to change, first of all, my sewing machine. I was using the Unique 19. So I want to change that. And I want to come over here down under here, you see in the blue it says change sewing machine model. So I want to tap on that link. It's kind of what it is. It's like a link to take you to that screen. So we're going to look for the Juki. I'm going to tap on Juki. And notice I've got Juki 2000, Juki 2010, 98. I've got the 2010, I think. Let me check, double check. It says TL 2010. That's the one I want. So I'm going to tap on that. And now it's changed. And I want to say, okay. Now I want to change my frame. So with this, it's going to take me all the way out and have to re-enter the automation. So I'm going to change it from a rolling frame. It says, when you change the frame style, the software will be restarted. That's okay. So yes, I want to continue. I'm going to pick not the rolling frame, but the hoop frame. Just tap on it. And then I want to say, okay. And now it's going to restart the program for me. I don't have to do it and just say, okay. So it's restarting the program. It's going to go through everything again. It's already in the middle. But the style of quilting is really important, is different from using a hoop frame to a rolling frame. So it's very important for you, if you have a hoop frame, to change your frame to a hoop frame rather than a rolling frame, because you won't get all those features or all those markings that you want, and it will just confuse you. So make sure that you change it. All right, so now we have fixed our machine and we have fixed our frame and we're ready to open up. Okay, so I have this long little area here. So let's just do half of it. I'll just do a little half of a pantograph, okay, with a 4-point placement. But let's just go in there. And I want to come up and set my safe area. So I want to come all the way up and off, okay? So I'm going to tap on my screen. So I'm going to move it up and off my quilt top. And now I want to move down to my bottom right. And that was setting the width. Now I'm setting the depth, okay? And I want to move all the way over there, tap on my screen. So now my safe area, I'll show you what it's saying. My safe area is, it's 27 inches by a 6-inch. So my machine is only going to be able to quilt a 6-inch block. No more than that, okay? You couldn't quilt a 7 or anything like that. So make sure that you're working within the parameters of your total height of your safe area. Okay, so you're designing your design. So it can quilt anything smaller than that, but not anything larger. Okay, so I'm going to come in here, and I want to come in here to my ruler. And I want to measure the area, okay, on this ruler. So I'm going to move my machine up here. And this is in both features, okay? So I want to come up here to the top left of the area that I'm measuring. Notice that's right there. And then I want to come all the way down. Oh, let's go halfway. I'm just going to go halfway. Right here to the bottom right. I'm going to click on that. Just gives me a straight line for right now, but this little L-shaped ruler is going to give me the area. I'm going to take that measurement. Notice the measurement, it's 1 and 7.78 inches, and then the width was 12 inches long. So I'm going to take those measurements and I'm going to tap on apply. Okay, and so now those measurements are on my screen. This little piece right here has become those measurements. So now I can just go up here to select a design. Now it's a continuous line design that I want to put in this area halfway. So let's just pick this curly Q. And it's filled it in. So now I'm just going to place as a single pattern. I'm going to come into 4-point placement. And I'm going to hurry and place it. And just have fun and experiment. And you know, before you start using it on your beautiful quilt, always put a test piece on and play with the automation. I still do it to this day because I want to see how it's going to react as I'm quilting. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to tap on my quilt because now I've placed it. All my little nodes are green. That means it's good to go. And we're going to tap on quilt. It's going to take me to my quilting interface screen here. This is where you're going to quilt your design. And this is where it's going to start right here on this green circle on the left. And it's going to stop right here on the right. So I want to pull up my needle. I'm just going to use my needle up, nail down on my machine. And that's all I have to do. Oh, it's really short. And I'm just going to come over here. As I start sewing and after it does its tie-offs, just gently cut your threads. So let's just quickly tap on sew. That's a good sign. It says, ensure the sewing machine needle is up. The machine is about to move. Say okay. See how fun that was? Quick and easy. It's a fast machine. But it's just a fun way to sew just a small design onto your quilt. And it's sewing beautifully. It's my last one. Then we're going to quickly sew one block just to show you how that works. Okay, notice that the needle is in the down position. You just use the buttons on the machine to bring it up. Okay, now I can cut my threads. I'm just going to pull it off to the side, make my tail, move it back to where it stopped, push my needle down in, back up, and then keep holding on to this and then just pull up your thread. I have red thread in the bobbin just to show you what it looks like to pull up your bottom thread. It's just a test one. So if you don't like that look, and I wouldn't either, okay, make sure that you're using a bobbin color that is similar and very close to your top thread color. Okay, so now I can probably roll my quilt, but I'm just going to do a small little block up here. So I'm just going to do these little 4 squares, okay, right here. So I'm just going to come right here. Well, I'm going to have to pull it up just a little. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this little block right here, just so you know. And then I could fill the rest in later if I wanted to. So I'm going to tap on finish because I'm finished with this. I'm going to go back out and I'm going to come back into my home screen, top left, home screen, and I don't want to save my design. No, I'm just going to say no. I'm going to come into select and sew. And we're going to quilt just a little block pattern, just a small one. And I'm in continuous lines, so let's go to little block designs. Across the top here, you'll notice that you have a library and file folders of different designs and design styles. I want to move over here to the block, and I'm just going to pick a really cute one. And the bear is a big fan favorite, so we'll pick the bear. I'm going to choose 4-point placement, and I'm just going to start right here. And I'm going to place my design. I'm going to come over here. Okay, now I'm out of my safe area because I didn't set it large enough because I didn't think I was going to move over there. But that's okay. What we're going to do is we're going to come over here to my toolbox. I'm going to move down and reset my safe area. And I'm going to click on this right here. It says click to set the safe area. So I'm just going to move back over here to my top left, tap on the screen, move all the way off the quilt, which I didn't do last time, to my bottom right. And now my safe area has been reset and I can place my design. So I want to move over here. Notice that it's wider now. I'm going to move across the top to this mark right here. Come down, mark, and then mark this corner. And there we go. So now I'm just going to hold on to my thread. I'm going to tap on my quilt. Now I could bring my bottom thread up, but usually if you're cutting, you won't have much. So let's bring it down, bring it up, pull it up so we know it's on the top. Okay, now we can just gently hold on to our thread and tap on sew. And we're going to quilt our little bear. See how much fun and how easy that is? So if you're not sure of your quilting, your free motion quilting style, the automation is such a great way to quilt and quilt accurately. So make sure that you look at what version you want and just see if it's within your budget. Because we do have the different styles. They just don't have all the functions and features, which to begin with, you don't need all of them because you're just learning it. So to have too much to learn can be overwhelming. So to start out with something that's really basic and easy, like the beginnings, a great way to start. So join me next week next time when I do an edge-to-edge design all the way across and all the way down my quilt using the hoop frame, this sewing machine. And thank you for joining me today. I will see you next time. Bye.